America, of course, was riled, but so was India. India was concerned that Bangladesh going the China way, to which I think Sheikh Hasina government made it very clear that her priority in keeping India's interests intact and above all is or will remain unchanged, and which is what happened. So she'd make trips to China, but she would also engage India and make trips to India. And the connectivity projects between India and Bangladesh were far greater.
Right.
But economically, yes, she was striking that balance to ensure that her country's economy grows.
Right.
And since then, let me just enumerate the numbers over
Yeah.
here, the number of visits.
Yeah.
So it began with the US imposing visa restrictions on some of the Bangladeshi leaders and individuals because of the way Sheikh Hasina had started conducting herself. Let there be no doubt over here that if this has happened to Sheikh Hasina, it wouldn't have happened if she was not, or if she hadn't become such an authoritarian leader. So because she was making mistakes, it was very easy for them to capitalize on those mistakes.
For the US to capitalize.
US and for the opposition BNP
Yeah.
to capitalize on those mistakes. If she would have been the democratic leader that she claims to be, and did not hold politicians prisoners, did not curtail press freedom, then there was no reason for BNP to say. And then, if they would have put up a quota policy and there were protests, she went back on it, it would have quietened. But there was a concerted effort to prove that Sheikh Hasina was becoming authoritarian, and she was giving reasons for them to prove it as well.
It's very important.
So what happened was, in 2023 of May, US started imposing restrictions. In July, Donald Lu, the US Assistant Secretary of State for South Asia, and Uzra Zia, the person who looks into the human rights, were involved in meetings in Dhaka, and there was tension there when they went.
Right.
Then again in October 2023, Donald Lu again condemned all the political violence. 2024 January, he again visited Dhaka, spoke about continuous US interest in Bangladesh's political situation. In May, again Donald Lu visited Dhaka, which included engagements with students, some of whom today can be identified as the influencers in the protests that took place.
Oh, yeah.
So he was engaging these activists and now protesters as well. And particularly what was important and interesting was that Donald Lu also met with the army chief, the very same man who gave Sheikh Hasina 45 minutes notice to leave the country.
Yeah.
So, and again, any officer who goes to a foreign country does engage leaders, opposition, students, activists, but I'm just spelling it out. Now, the other angle that you have is there are WikiLeaks cables of 2007, and you see engagement of Professor Yunus with the United States of America, where he's actually seeking help from them with regards to the Sheikh Hasina government. That's when things were going down south for them. There's an email from French President Nicolas Sarkozy saying that indicating that Sarkozy government planned to monitor and address Yunus's removal from the Grameen Bank, because back then when he was heading the Grameen Bank, he's the founder of Grameen Bank.
Yeah.
Sheikh Hasina removed him, and there were charges of corruption. But you see, the West had started looking at it. 2011, there's an email leak featuring correspondence between Hillary Clinton and her chief of staff, Cheryl Mills, again noting Yunus's involvement in an economic advisory board for Haiti.
Yeah.
And then there's a U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee report which accused Hillary Clinton of intervening on Yunus's behalf to halt corruption investigation in the Grameen Bank case.
Yeah, apparently Yunus and Grameen organizations donated really good hefty amount to Hillary Clinton foundations. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
So you see, there is a lot of connect. We can anybody can draw any conclusions. They can say that, well, we were doing it because we were concerned about the situation. But when you're concerned about the situation and you're engaging the opposition and aiding and making statements for the opposition and against Sheikh Hasina, in a way not really paying heed to India's interests, because in the long run this could mean not so good news for India, and India is a strategic partner of the United States of America, then it does become a concern. So yes. And finally, this entire student body that Donald met are the ones who actually demanded Yunus as to be appointed chief advisor.
Man, this are...
Yeah.
I mean, so it means that, I mean, we can't
we cannot say it for sure.
Draw conclusions
we
right
can
now.
Just state it out here and let people decide.
It all means that it not, I mean, everything not, did not happen all of a sudden.
No, it did not.
It was in the making, like you said
yes,
rightly
it
last
was,
time.
It was.
Yeah.
And St. Martin's Island did play a role in how US wanted to steer.
Yeah.
Will BNP again, succumb to US pressure? I don't really know. I don't really know, because over here there is another aspect. Has America been played by the Chinese? There are so many in the Bangladeshi Air Force and Navy, if not the Army. So in the Bangladeshi military, who have made umpteen number of visits to China. And so if they are to be, if they're still in control, if they're still part, because China is still an important part of Bangladesh, partner of Bangladesh, and BNP will not let go of China. Why? Because US came later, Anna. The original friends were Pakistan and China.
That's what I remember, Geeta. I remember when we were discussing the India Out campaign in Bangladesh. And I had asked you this, that who is getting their calculations wrong? The US is saying that, okay, we don't want Sheikh Hasina. I mean, they think that a BNP, power it
because
would be
Sheikh
more
Hasina
favorable.
was not playing ball with the US.
Yeah, that is. I mean, that's very much stated.
And BNP.
But then BNP, they are saying
BNP tweaked its policies to adjust both. Earlier it was Pakistan, China. Now they're looking at engaging the US, and which is why the BNP says, don't club us as part of this entire Jamaat BNP combine.
That's
because they want to look liberal. They want to look inclusive. They are having trouble seeing what the Jamaat is doing. Okay. They are distancing themselves from the Jamaat. But in the long run, now when China turns around and says, well, what's happening? Then they'll have to again recalibrate. And see whether if they want to...
So then they won't be selling the island to the US,
No,
right?
no. There's no selling. But
I mean,
even if they
base...
allow a US naval base, it'll be a huge thing. And I don't think China is going to let that happen very easily.
Yeah. But it's also interesting.
And I don't think Bangladesh right now, even BNP, after so much of emphasis by Sheikh Hasina, that it's because of St. Martin's, that BNP will have the political clout to make that move.
Yeah. Like if you see in Pakistan what happened, like Imran Khan was in power and he did not so-called succumb to the US's so-called interests. He was ousted. Then Sheikh Hasina did not pay heed. So she was ousted.
In fact, it's interesting that you're saying this because, Imran Khan also named Donald Lu. In the letter that was sent by one officer to the Pakistani ambassador in DC, it was Donald Lu's letter that he was alleging that the officer was Donald Lu and he was the one who sent that letter, so on and so forth. So yeah.
Wow. That's really interesting. I mean, we are not concluding anything, but these are the facts if you look at the chronology, like Geeta pointed out.